Hey there, my friends. How are you? Welcome back. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Patty DeFondi, owner of pattydefondi.com, which is an online cake decorating school. My love in the cake decorating world are sugar flowers and fondant work. I love those two and I love teaching them. So let's get on to today's tutorial. And if you do like today's tutorial, please give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel. By subscribing, it will give others a chance to see my tutorials in their newsfeed. So it helps bump it up to them and help other cake decorators. So today I'm going to be teaching you how to make gum paste bamboo. And bamboo is a really great filler for Asian designed sugar flower arrangements, for any kind of Asian designed cakes, tropical cakes. They look great as a filler with a flower arrangement, or they look great scattered around a cake for decoration. So let's get on to this tutorial. There are not many supplies you need for it, and it's a very simple and easy one that you can master very quickly. All right, let's get started. Okay, to make the bamboo, we just need a few items here. We don't need a lot of things. So what you will need is some moss-colored gum paste. I already colored it. And you're going to need some 20 gauge green wire. You will need your Dresden veining tool, jewelry cutters, some dark green floral tape, and this is kind of a mossy green. You want to do something similar in color. You'll need some edible glue and a brush for the glue and a couple other brushes for the colors. And we're going to be using a few different colors here, and we use a variety of colors so it gives the bamboo some dimension. And we're going to be working on those in a little bit. We want to first make our bamboo and let it dry. And you're also going to need a foam, piece of foam to let it dry on. All right, so to get started, we want to cut our floral wire in half. We don't want the full length, so I'm going to cut it. Here's the 7-inch mark here. Okay, so however many that you're going to make, then say if you're going to make 4, then you need 2 of these. If you're going to make 6, then you make 3. So I'm going to make 6 right now. And they don't all have to be the same size. If you accidentally cut it a little bit uneven, that's perfectly fine. That's not a problem. All right, so we're going to start out with our gum paste. And you want to condition it so it's pliable and workable. I'm adding a little bit of shortening into it, so you don't need shortening, but if your gum paste feels a little dry, then you want to add some shortening to it just to give it more pliability. And in the summer, I don't have to do that too much because it's more humid here. However, we're in the middle of winter here, so I want to get it a little bit more pliable because it tends to be drier in the winter. All right, so you want to roll it into a nice ball, and then you start rolling it out. And then we're going to roll it out into a very long, skinny log. Now this looks a little bit greener than moss green. I used some leftover green that I had, and I added some moss color to it. So it gave it a moss look, but it still has a more greener look. So as long as you have somewhat of a base color, and you don't have to make a brand new color. If you have some leftover green and you want to use that, you can very easily just add some moss color to it to give it the moss colored look. And like I said, we're going to be painting it with some dust, some color dust, dry dust that is. All right, so I'm going to get my pizza cutter, and I'm just going to cut the ends a little bit so we have a more workable surface here. All right, now we have about 7 inches on the wire, so we want the bamboo to come up a little bit on the wire. We don't want it to go all the way down because we want some of the wire to stick out so we can put it into the cake. So you don't want to make it too big. So we're going to cut, I would say, about 1/3. All right, so you have 1. So you want about 1/3 of the wire sticking out, and you can use that to put into your cake. And 2. And that's fine right there. It's a little bit shorter than 1/3, but that's okay. We can roll it out a little bit and bring it to there. So there's no sense in rolling another one. Just trying to give you some ways to save time. And we're going to put these in here so they don't dry out. And we're going to work one at a time. Okay, so we're going to open up our edible glue, and we're going to get one of our wires. And you want the edible glue to go all the way down except for the area that's going to be showing. So you just want to brush on the edible glue on the entire wire that the bamboo is going to be on. All right, and then we're going to get our bamboo, and we're going to put the wire through the center, and you can rotate it around just to make sure it's going right up the center. Just give it a rotation, and you want to kind of get a feel to make sure that it's not going to be sticking out one end or the other. And your bamboo will misshapen a little bit, but that's okay. So you want to go all the way up the bamboo. And whether you do this when it's lying down or whether you're holding it in your hand, if you feel you have more control when it's in your hand, that's perfectly fine also. You just want to make sure the wire goes all the way up the bamboo. Okay, we're almost there. If you can feel it just about sticking out of the top, then you're there. And it's right there, so we're good. Okay, so now you want to roll the bamboo, roll the gum paste again so you have a nice smooth surface. And you want to pinch kind of round the top a little bit, and the same with the bottom. You want to kind of pinch it in so it connects to the wire. So when it dries, it is drying really well right onto the wire. And you could go around, once you pinch it, you can turn it in like a little rotation and pinch off any of this excess here. Okay, and then you just want to round it out a little bit. Okay, and the same goes with the top. You want to round it out a little bit. You can roll it back and forth a little more. All right, so now we're going to make sections, and I'm going to use my veining tool for that. This is the tool that I use most often in all of my projects. So we're going to just do some sections. We're going to kind of roll it around. Oop, that wasn't quite even, but that's okay. We will get it even. You want to make a pretty deep cut through. You don't want to go all the way through, but you want to make a good sized indentation. You don't want to cut all the way through. You want to just make a good sized indent. Okay, and then you're going to do maybe we'll do 2 more. So we'll go down here And you just want to roll it around, and you make that indent pretty steep. And if you don't get all the way even, then you just kind of roll it around again so you're nice and even. And then we're going to make one more. And they don't have to be exactly the same. It's actually preferable if they're not the same size, because in the world of nature, everything is organic, and no two plants are exactly alike. So we're going to give another indentation. And you just want to go all the way around. Now, what I like to do after I make my indent, you just want to make sure the indent is nice and steep. Almost to where it's going to be breaking in half. So, but then what I like to do then is push the indent together again a little bit, and you want to kind of pinch it a little bit where the indent meets. Right here, you want to just kind of give it a little pinch. You want the indent still to show, but you want to just give it a little bit of a pinch. So you want to see that indent, but you don't want it to form back again where it's the same thing again. So you will go around. If you have to do this a couple times, that's fine. And then just bring your indents again together. Okay, and then once they're together, you just kind of lightly indent the area again. All right, then we're going to make some grooves into it just to give it a more natural look. So we're going to take our veining tool, and we're just going to make some veining marks, and just random marks. You don't want them even around. Just going to go randomly around, and we're going to do that all the way around the entire stem. So you have random marks all the way around, and that gives the bamboo a very natural look. So you want to just randomly make some indents into it. And when we color dust, the darker color dust is going to go into these indents, and it's going to make them stand out a little bit more. It's going to give them some shadow. All right, so that's one piece right here. Now we're going to just let this dry, and you want to dry it on a nice soft foam. So we have a foam here. Now you want these to dry, I would say, overnight before you color them, and then we will come back and color them. So let's finish all 5 of these, 5 more, and then after we complete all 6 of them, then we're going to let them dry overnight, and then we will start coloring them. Okay, now that our bamboo has dried overnight, we're going to give it some depth and color. I have already colored 4 of them. I've done a total of 6. I've already colored 4. I have not steamed them yet. I'm just coloring them, and then we will put some floral tape on the stem. So this is what they look like when they are colored. They have a nice depth to them, and I'll show you the different variations. This one has a little bit more depth, and you can see the color in between that we used. It gives it a more realistic look. And we also used some sheen to it. So I have 2 more to show you, and we'll get started on those. Now I have a little bit of a mess here that from working on them. And the colors that we're going to use today, we're going to use a moss green, and this is the moss green over here. We're going to mix the moss green in with a little bit of super pearl. And this, just a little bit. You don't need a lot of that, because then it gets to be too sheeny and not looking realistic. And it just gives the bamboo a little bit of a sheen. And then we're also going to be using dark brown. This is chestnut brown, and this is going to be used in the creases. And then we have forest green here. I'm going to use a little bit, get a little bit more of this out. We don't need too much more because I only have 2 more to do. And then we have apricot. I'm using apricot here, but you can use any light color. What that is for is that after we color in between here, we're going to finish the center with some lighter color. I don't know if you've noticed on real bamboo, in between each little section, there is a lighter color, and it's almost like the twig is coming out with some young parts of the twig, so it's a little bit lighter. So I've done that, and you can use, I'm using what I have on hand. I had some apricot out, so I'm using that. You can also use yellow, and you can also use maybe an off-white, such as a cream or an ivory. You don't want to use pure white, then it just makes it not realistic looking. These we made and we let them dry. The centers here, I'm going to start out with some brown. So any dark color, when you are coloring your fondant work or your sugar flowers and you want to bring depth into it, you want to use a dark color depending on the project, either black or dark brown or gray. So I'm using brown, and you just want to very lightly add that into the crease. I'm using a flat brush. The flat brush will actually get it in there better. And as you can see already, that creates a depth. And we're going to do this one. You go all the way around and you add that depth in there. And I'm going to do this one. Okay, now that we have the brown, we're going to switch over to the forest green, which is the darker green. And you just want to add that right on top of the brown, and it adds a second dimension of color. Okay. Creating depth is all about dimensions of color and just giving a more natural look. All right, so then we're going to just add a very small amount of our light color. And I'm using apricot, and you just go around very lightly. And it's almost like this bamboo is growing, and this centerpiece not only has depth, but it also has the new growth in there. Okay, and then you don't want to add too much, just enough to give it some shape and to notice. Okay, now then all these markings that we made throughout, we're going to color them in forest green. So we're just going to add some color to the center in forest green. If you get too much, if you dab too much on, you can always tap it off. So we're going to fill in all these little markings here. Okay. We're going to finish off this bamboo with moss green mixed in with a little bit of pearl dust, and it will give it like more of a sheen. It'll give it a nice sheen. But you don't want to put too much on, just enough. It helps it stand out more. All right, so I'm going to show you one more. This is our final one. We're going to add the brown in between. And if you add a little too much, you can always brush it off or tap it off. And then we're going to use the dark green, forest green, and we're going to go around. And then we're going to fill in all of these gaps that we made, the little indents. Okay, then we're going to get our light color, and we're just going to add a little bit of that inside. And it also helps draw attention to the gap, and it shows the depth more. All right, and our final color, we're going to get a little bit of this moss green mixed with pearl dust, and we're just going to lightly go over it all the way around. All right, so now we have our moss, or I'm sorry, we have our bamboo, and I'm going to put all these brushes aside for now. And colors, we'll move that up and out of the way. All right, so then to finalize our bamboo, we want to give the stems a little bit more realistic look. We're going to use a dark green floral tape, and we're going to use half width. So we want to have it cut in half. Okay, and then we stretch out our tape. And you want to use dark green because it's more of a mossy colored plant. You don't want to use anything light green. And then you want to anchor it. And then you bring your anchor up to meet right here. And then you just go down the line. And then the stem is finished. And we're going to do that with all of our bamboo. You anchor, twist it around, push up the anchor to meet the gum paste, and then you just go down. Okay, so I'm going to finish off these. Now the last thing you're going to do before this is completed, you want to steam them. And the steaming will help set the colors. We added a lot of color and a lot of definition in here. You want to steam them so the colors will set, and by steaming them, it will also help bring out the colors and give the definition a lot more dimension. So there you have it. The bamboo is a very unique and interesting filler to be used in Asian and tropical designed cakes or in sugar flower arrangements. So I'm excited to help you make these, and I'd love to see your creations. You could either post them in the comments here, post photos, or you can send me an email at info@pattydefondy.com. All right, folks, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next tutorial. Bye for now.